McPadden with Final Touch Drywall and Ceiling Refinishing, bringing you another Venetian Plaster accent wall. Here we go. So we're here in Trinity, Florida at the home of the owner of TMP Home Improvements, where they do beautiful outdoor kitchens, woodwork, and accent walls. So we are honored to be able to bring them an accent wall in this beautiful finish, which I like to call metallic slate. This is a Marmorino Ks underneath. It's 2 coats. We do the first coat, we put a texture on, then we pull it tight and burnish it. That way you have highs and lows, and when you put the Dune metallic on, which is a silver, this is a bluish gray Dune. It catches in the low parts and makes this silver come out. So we are going to show you the process. So let's get started. What we've did so far, we masked off our wall just to make sure we didn't get it on anything. Then we sanded it down to get it as smooth as possible because it's an orange peel texture. And then we skimmed it with a thin layer of drywall mud, and now we're gonna let it dry. And then when we come back later on today, we're gonna put our primer coat on. Our drywall mud is dry from the skim coat we put on earlier. Now we're about to put our primer coat on. That way our Venetian sticks well to the wall. So primer coat is dry, and now we're about to put our first coat of Marmorino Ks on. This is gonna be our texture coat, and this is one of the most important parts. This is what defines the pattern of the wall, because we put 2 coats on. First layer is gonna be the texture coat, then the second layer is gonna be we pull it tight and then we burnish it. So what we start with is always the Marmorino Ks. This is tinted to an online color. It's like a bluish gray, and then we're gonna put it on with our trowels. This is exotic line trowel, and we're about to get started. So you can see, nice and liquidy, like liquid stone, beautiful stuff. And we're gonna show you the whole process of how we're gonna put the texture on. So we're back, day 2, round 2 of this beautiful metallic slate accent wall here in Trinity, Florida. And what we're doing today is we're gonna scrape off, the texture is dry, we're gonna scrape off all the little rough spots, and then we're gonna pull it tight with the second coat and burnish it. That way we put our Dune metallic on. But first, I wanna show you the texture up close. So come here. All right, so here is a close-up of the texture. So we did a skip trowel and then we put movement in it. That way, when we put a second coat on the Dune, you can see the movement through it, so actually it looks like real slate almost. So now we're about to put a second coat on and we're gonna show you the process of doing this. So. Alright, so our second coat, what we're doing is pulling it tight, always in circular motions. What we're doing is we're gonna pull it tight. All these low spots, these are gonna be our low spots. So and also where the texture is in between it. And so when we are putting the Dune metallic on, the silver is gonna catch in these and then in between the rough areas. Alright, so we got the second coat on. And now it's drying, and while it's drying, we want to hit this when it's wet. So it's a little damp right now. We're going to spray a little bit of water on it, kind of reactivate it a little bit so we can burnish it. So what we want to do is, while we burnish it, is you can see right here, as I was talking about before, the highs and lows. So we put the texture on there and it creates roughness to it. So when we burnish it, you can see the texture, and then the silver is going to peak, it's going to grab inside these low spots, because we have to, when we're burnishing it, it doesn't hit those underneath. So you see all these rough spots. That's where the silver is gonna grab and really make this thing look beautiful. We got our texture on, we got our second coat on, we burnished it, now it's dry. Now we're about to put our Dune metallic on, which, as you can tell, we love our Dune metallic. So this is a bluish gray and it's a silver base, and we're going to put this on with a sponge. And we're gonna really make this thing come to life. So let's get started. Now it's starting to come together. See the Dune, how it, see it right here, how I tell you about the highs and lows. See how, like, okay, this is where we burnish, and then that, in between the textures, you see where it's a little rough, and that's where it grabs the silver. So then we have the darker, and then the lighter with the silver. So that way it makes the texture really come out, and it's really starting to really pop. It's one of my favorite finishes. We have completed this beautiful accent wall here in Trinity, Florida, and I just want to go over what we've done here. First, the client came to us wanting something different, so we introduced him to Venetian Plaster. This is a Dune metallic accent wall, which we call it metallic slate. Is in a bluish gray color. So first we started to prep the wall. We sanded it down, we skimmed it out with regular mud, let that dry. Then we primed it with a quartz primer. It has sand in it. Then we put two coats of Marmorino Ks, one texture, one pull it tight, and then we burnished it. After that, we put our Dune metallic on with a sponge, and then this is what you get. So if you're looking for an accent wall, something different, reach out to us. My name is Justin McPadden, owner of Final Touch Drywall and Ceiling, and we are The Final Touch.